Hello. I'm 79 years old now. Been sitting with these thoughts for a while, turning them over like stones smoothed by a river I've long since crossed. What I'm about to share, it might sit heavy on you, might stir something uncomfortable, like a shadow moving in a room you thought was empty. If that's the case, that's all right. You can pause here, come back when the quiet feels kinder. But if you're listening, really listening, I hope you'll stay, because this isn't easy for me to say, even after all these years. We've all heard it, haven't we? That old refrain about strength, the one that says a person worth their salt doesn't bend, doesn't break open, doesn't let the world see the tremble in their hands. Resilience, they call it. Grit your teeth, swallow the ache, stand tall no matter what comes crashing through. Emotional control, keep it locked down, self-contained, like a fortress no one can breach. It's the story we've been fed since we were old enough to listen, the one that promises if you just endure quietly, you'll come out the other side unbroken, whole, admired even. But sitting here in this chair by the window, with the light slanting just so across the floorboards I've paced 1,000 times, I have to wonder if we got it wrong. Not a little wrong, but deeply, quietly wrong. That kind of strength, it doesn't build you up. It hollows you out, one unspoken word at a time. And by the time you notice the emptiness echoing back, the years have slipped away like sand through your fingers.
I believed it, you know. God, did I believe it. For decades, 50, 60 years, if I'm counting right, I carried that creed like a prayer. Silence was a virtue, the highest kind. Why speak your hurts when you could shoulder them alone? Endurance was the mark of character. Lean into the wind, let it whip across you until you're numb to the sting. And self-reliance, that was my North Star. Fix your own roof before the rain comes. Mend your own heart after it frays. Ask for help? That was for the weak, the ones who couldn't hack it. I told myself it made me solid, unshakable, the kind of person others could count on because I never leaned. It started young, I suppose. My father, with his calloused hands and his way of staring off into the fields without a word after Mother left us. He didn't cry, didn't rage, he just kept going, one furrow at a time, and I learned that lesson like it was gospel. By the time I was raising my own, burying my husband after 34 years of mornings together, I had it down to an art. The world spins on, I thought. You spin with it, or you get left behind. There was this one winter, though, about 10 years back now, when I was 69, that cracked something open. Not with a thunderclap, nothing like that. No car accident, no sudden betrayal, just a quiet unraveling. I'd caught pneumonia, the kind that settles in slow, like fog rolling off the lake. Started with a cough I ignored, then a fever that pinned me to the bed for days. The house was empty, kids grown and scattered, neighbors busy with their own lives. I didn't call anyone. Why would I? I'd always managed before. A cup of tea, a blanket, and wait it out. That's what strong people do. But lying there in the dim light, the radiator hissing like a distant train, I couldn't move, couldn't even lift my head to sip water. The hours stretched, and with them came this weight, not just in my chest, but everywhere. The phone sat on the nightstand, silent as a stone. I stared at it, thinking of my daughter in Chicago, her voice on the line last Christmas, asking if I was all right. Fine, I'd said, always fine. And now, in that fevered haze, the truth pressed in. I was alone because I'd made myself that way. Not by accident, but by design. The silence I'd prized had built walls so high, even I couldn't climb them anymore. It wasn't the illness that undid me, It was the realization, soft as a whisper, that I'd been living on autopilot for so long I didn't know how to turn it off. Autopilot, that's the word for it, isn't it? Days bleeding into weeks, seasons folding over like pages in a book you never finish. I'd wake at dawn, make coffee black as the regrets I didn't name, and move through the hours. The roof leaked after that storm in '08. I climbed the ladder myself, hammer in hand, ignoring the ache in my knees. My sister called once, her voice thin over the line, hinting at her own shadows, the marriage fraying, the loneliness creeping in. "You understand, don't you?" she said. I murmured something about time healing, hung up without offering more. Vulnerability? That was a crack in the armor, a luxury for softer souls. Asking for help meant admitting defeat, so I carried it all. The bills stacking like autumn leaves, the grief that bloomed fresh on anniversaries, the quiet terror of nights when sleep wouldn't come, burdens tucked away in the chest of my ribs, locked tight. If they rattled, I told myself it was just the wind. And for a time, it worked, or seemed to. The world saw a woman who held steady, the aunt who hosted Thanksgivings without a fuss, the widow who gardened like nothing had changed, the mother who nodded through her son's stories without burdening him with her own. But oh, the cost. It creeps up on you, that toll, like frost etching glass you didn't know was fragile. What that strength took wasn't grand, no empires lost, no fortune squandered. It was the small things, the tender ones that slipped away unnoticed until they were gone. Like the calls I never made, to my youngest after her divorce when I heard the hitch in her breath over the phone. I wanted to say, "Come home, let me hold you like I did when you were small." But the words stuck, too raw, too close to admitting I'd felt that shatter myself once. So I said, "You'll be okay," and let the line go quiet. Or the evenings in summer, fireflies blinking like secrets in the yard, when I could have walked next door to Ellen's porch, sat with a glass of lemonade and let slip how the empty bed still echoed with his laugh. Instead, I stayed inside, curtains drawn, telling myself solitude was peace. And the feelings I never voiced. At my granddaughter's baptism, that tiny hand in mine, I felt this swell, love so fierce it scared me, mingled with a grief for the babies I'd never held long enough. But I smiled, stiff and sure, swallowed the lump in my throat. "She's perfect," I said, and left it there. Moments avoided. The night my brother passed and I drove to the hospital alone, not waking a soul to ride with me because they had work in the morning. The hug I sidestepped from my son after his promotion, mumbling about dust on my apron when what I meant was, "I'm proud and it hurts how fast you're going." These weren't failures, not in the way the world measures them. No one pointed fingers, no one whispered about weakness, but in the ledger of a life, they add up. They carve out spaces where warmth should have been. Love, the deep kind that roots and branches, requires soil turned over, seeds pressed in. Mine stayed barren because I never let the rain fall. Closeness? I had acquaintances, polite nods across fences, but no one who knew the fault lines in my story. The girl who hid under the table during storms, the woman who whispered prayers into pillows after love left. Connection thrives on the shared weight, but I walked alone, so sure my load was mine to bear. And being truly known, that's the quietest theft of all. I was a silhouette to them, a shape in the fog. Solid, yes, but unseen in the ways that matter. The colors of me, the fears that woke me at 3 a.m., the joys that made my chest ache with their brevity, stayed folded away, gathering dust.
Have you ever caught yourself in the mirror late at night and wondered if the lines there tell the truth? If the person you've built so carefully, strong, silent, sufficient, has room left for the parts that ache to be held? Not to fix them, just to be with them. I did, finally. After that winter, when the fever broke and I dragged myself up, the house felt vast, echoing. I started small, clumsy as a child, a call to my daughter, not with advice, but with the shape of my own long-ago hurts. "I remember feeling that hollow," I said, and she stayed on the line, her breath sinking with mine. Then a walk to Ellen's, knocking with tea in hand, letting the words tumble. It's lonely sometimes, isn't it? No rush, no fanfare, just presence. The air between us shifted, warmed. Honesty, unadorned. Turns out it's a bridge, not a break. And in those fragile crossings, something clarified. Not with a blaze, but a slow dawn. True strength isn't the fortress, the unflinching jaw. It's the quiet courage to show up without the mask, to say, "This is me, frayed edges and all," and trust the world won't shatter you for it. It's being present in the mess, listening not just to reply, but to hold. Honesty that doesn't demand perfection, just truth. And connection, that's the marrow of it. Reaching across the gap, hand open, because alone we fade, but together we endure in ways silence never taught. I'm not there yet, not fully. Some walls hold stubborn, habits die hard. But at 79, with the calendar pages thinning, I see it clearer than ever. Time isn't a river you can dam up. It flows, relentless, carving what it will. That pride I clung to, the silence I called strength, it exacted a price in moments unshared, in loves half-spoken, in the slow erosion of what could have been whole. And waiting for the right moment? Darling, there is no such thing. The right moment is this one, breath by breath, before the light shifts and the chance dissolves like mist. So if these words have stirred something in you, a flicker, a shadow, let them sit. Let them remind you that the cost of holding back isn't paid in gold, but in the soft currency of regret. The kind that whispers long after the dishes are cleared, the doors locked. Don't wait. Reach. Speak. Be known. Because in the end, that's the life that lingers. Not the one endured in quiet, but the one lived in the warm, uncertain light of together. Thank you for listening. I'll be here by the window if you want to talk.